Labyrinth is back.
Yes.
And I love Labyrinth. For those that don't know what Labyrinth is, can you just explain it to our listeners?
Yes, okay. It's our 10th anniversary, so we're quite excited. So Labyrinth is a theatre group that is directed by Manx Heritage, but it's a group of volunteer actors, essentially. And what we do is something called Labyrinth Theme Theatre, which is immersive theatre in a promenade style. So Labyrinth events are quite quirky. You come to one of our sites. In this instance, it'll be the Manx Museum, and you'll be taken on a fast-paced journey around the galleries, through some of the back areas, through some of the stores, where you will encounter actors along the way. So it's immersive theatre in that the performances take place in very small spaces and you're sort of surrounding them, you're surrounding the actors. You do not have to take part, don't worry. Although you can join in, we always encourage people to join in. There are scenes where you can join in if you want to.
So it can be interactive.
It's aimed to be interactive,
yeah.
But if you don't like that, that's fine too. Don't worry. No one's jumping out at you. It's nothing like that. But it's we started 10 years ago with an event at Castle Rushen called Castle Rushen Unlocked, and we've just gone from strength to strength. Really, we just really love it. And what we try to do is bring stories from the Isle of Man's history to life in unusual ways, and we always have a different theme. So this year it's called Labyrinth, the Treasure House. Mm-hmm. The Treasure House, of course, is the Manx Museum. Taitashtu Vanin literally means the treasure house. And we will be revealing stories about how the museum came to be, which is actually a really unusual story about these sort of feisty Victorian antiquarians with a mission to save the history of the Isle of Man. There's tales of giant deers being stolen by night and treasure being stolen, and there's all sorts of interesting tales to tell. But then we're also taking you round the museum as we explore stories from the collections we hold, and we've got 2 million objects in our care. So there's lots. We're not telling 2 million stories, you'll be glad to hear. Only about an hour's
But 2 million objects, that's
incredible.
And
archives, yeah. So
because, of course, with the Museum 100, it does say that there's several objects on display that have never been... There must be loads then that have never been seen before.
There's lots of objects that aren't on display, mostly because museums don't exist to display objects. That's not the point of them. The point of them is to store objects, actually, as a sort of a 3D library of people's history. So the vast majority of the 2 million are archival materials, all of which can be accessed, of course, from our reading room. So photographs, wills, newspapers, our natural history collection. So on display in the gallery, there's a little display a drawer of beetles, and there's 1,000 beetles within that. So
my word.
We do have a lot of things, a lot of stories to draw from. And the Treasure House, our performance, is really fun. It's a really fun way to spend an evening, and they are in the evening, so they are about an hour and a half. We haven't actually timed it out yet because we're still rehearsing. We think it's going to be a run time of about an hour and 20 minutes. But tickets are on sale now, and we want people to come. We put in so much effort, so we really want it to sell out.
Because
really
it's basically a group of volunteers, including yourself.
Oh yes,
so
of course.
I mean, you do this every year just for the love of it, essentially.
Yeah, well, we do it because there's loads of different ways to engage people with the history of the Isle of Man, isn't there? And you can come to our galleries, you can come to our sites, you can come to our talks. But what we wanted when we started was to offer something for adults who wanted a good night out. That was our sort of mission. So I should say, actually, this event isn't really suitable for young children. We say 7+, so it's not something aimed at people with young families. It's aimed at people wanting a night out. So often people come to us and they go to the pub afterwards, or they'll go to the pub first and then come to us for our later shows. So it's a fun night out. It's a light. This one in particular is quite a light-hearted performance. Sometimes they're a bit dark and scary, but not this one. This one's quite light-hearted.
And who writes the material then?
So we do it collaboratively. So what we tend to do as Manx National Heritage, or myself and my colleagues Alison and Jude, we identify which stories we want to tell, and then we'll sort of present them to the rest of the cast and say, right, these are the stories we want to tell. What do we think about them? How do we think that'll work? Do they gel together? And then we just give them the research packs. We put together research packs of all the information we know about certain stories, and then they write them, and they can take any style they want. So sometimes we say, well, let's make this a really fun one, or let's make this quite dark. It's quite a sad story. How can we really bring the audience along so that you get highs and lows throughout the performance. And we try and get people to have a physical reaction in some way, whether that's shock or laughter or surprise. And often when you leave Labyrinth, at the end of Labyrinth, I'm left with them. So I'm the guide. I sort of, well, myself and my colleague Alison are the guides. We take people around. We're your safe person. If it all gets a bit much for you, because it's got a bit wacky, we'll explain everything and we'll set you down. But at the end, they're like, what's just happened to us? But weeks later, we get emails from people saying, oh, I was so interested in that story. I've gone off to research more about it. It's so fascinating. So we're just trying to set people's minds on fire a little bit to learn more, because you can't tell everyone everything in an hour.
Although you will try, I know you will. Well, we don't want to give too much away, because part of the joy of these is the fact that, you're not necessarily entirely sure what's going to happen until you get there.
Nor do we.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love that idea. So we do know that it starts a week on Wednesday, so 2 weeks yesterday in essence. So it's the 26th is
Wednesday
the
the 26th is our first performance in the evening, and then that's just one performance. And then on Friday the 28th, we've got a show at 5 p.m, 6:30 p.m, and 8 p.m. And on Saturday the 29th, we've got a show at 5 p.m, 6:30 p.m, and 8 p.m. And we only have 30 people per performance, so it's quite a limited number, but it's really special. It's a good night out.
So you have to book in advance, and I take it they do that via the website.
Yeah, so if you go to manxnationalheritage.im, click on What's On, and you'll see a tab. Click on that, and it'll take. Look, you're looking for Labyrinth, the treasure house, and the tickets are on sale there. You could choose the slot you want.